had a lot of different jobs. Just counting the ones where I've been paid, I've had 16 like real jobs. But when you add in the unpaid internships that I've had for either degrees or to fill out my resume or to get certain skills that I couldn't get in a classroom, I've had 21 jobs and I'm only 28. And I know how this looks at first glance. It looks like I can't hold down a job for more than a couple of months, but that's not quite what's going on here. I'm almost always working 2 or 3 jobs. At one point I was working 4 jobs. And I was talking to my mom about this around the time I was on my 13th job and I was back in grad school for the second time. And I'd said something like, at least it's just me. I can't even imagine trying to hack it in this world with kids in tow. She said, or maybe you'd be even more motivated to create a stable home for the kid. And that really stuck with me because people with kids will do just about anything to make sure that that kid has a stable, normal life. They'll work extra hours or they'll take a better paying but less satisfying job. Now I'm child-free by choice, but I decided to try making my professional and financial decisions as if I did have a kid. Somebody who needed to be provided a lifestyle that was predictable and stable. This all started as a thought experiment, but last spring it became the guiding light as I navigated the most toxic coworker I have ever had the misfortune of meeting. This guy was rude, explosive, and unpredictable. You could be doing your job as normal and he'd start cussing at you for doing it to the company's standard instead of to his standard. We tried talking to him and that didn't go anywhere, and then we talked to the managers and nothing would come of that. He'd complain about our complaints and the cycle would continue. It was so stressful working with this volatile man that I genuinely felt ill whenever he was in the building. Obviously, this isn't a good work situation, but it was more or less manageable while I had people around me who I trusted back me if there was a confrontation. But in spring, my work best friend got promoted and he no longer worked on site. And from that point on, I felt very alone and exposed because I knew that if something happened, management wouldn't side with me. And it wasn't just a matter of keeping my head down because this guy started trouble. And I seriously considered quitting then and there because in what world was any of this worth it? Like, I had money, I didn't need that job, or I didn't need that job in particular. But I remembered that imaginary kid that I'm responsible for, and I thought, what happens to their sense of stability if I quit my job? And that's when I devised a plan. Now, up to that point, and this is all happening in May, I've been working both in this bar and as a substitute teacher. My typical work week would be Friday through Tuesday, where I'd spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the bar, then I'd sub on Monday, and then Tuesday I'd be back at the bar, and then I'd have 2 days off, Wednesday, Thursday. The nice thing about subbing is that you can set your own schedule and that you can work as much as you want. Like, it's entirely possible to work full-time as a substitute teacher. The not so nice thing about subbing is that there are 2 lean months, July and August. And this is all happening in late May, which is basically the worst time of year to become a full-time substitute. At that point, my emotional well-being basically hinged on not working Fridays at the bar anymore. Like, it wasn't the only shift that I had with that piece of work, but it was the one where we opened together and I had to work 10.5-hour shift with him. So I formally changed my availability and immediately my life got so much better. Actually, when I announced the change, my boss asked me, what about money? And at first I misunderstood the question. I thought that he was asking out of concern for me, like, you're not working very much anymore. Are you gonna have enough to get by? So my response was, oh, it's okay, I'll work my other job, like, I'll be fine. And it was only after I left the office that I realized that he was offering me more money to keep working the shift. And I just like turned down a raise without a second thought, like, a little power move. Now, the price that I paid for not working at the bar on Fridays anymore was working every single day until the end of the school year. I was saving up against the lean summer months so that this imaginary kid that I'm responsible for wouldn't even notice that the summer was so lean. Like, I took off 1 day for a wedding and then there was a federal holiday, but other than that, I worked every single day. So the school year ended and I kept working at the bar on Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. And the plan was that when school year started again, I would quit my job at the bar and become a substitute full-time, get that full-time sub money. While subbing, the plan was to get to know schools and administrators and to apply for work as a history teacher to get the career back on track, or alternatively work as a retail manager for a boutique wine shop in Falls Church. Either which way, I provided for this imaginary kid. Of course, that's not how things shook out. I actually got a job at the company I work for now, working as a technical writer. Frankly, I won the professional lottery in about 6 different ways that day. I'm so grateful to earn a professional salary from home where I can cook myself lunch and pet my cats while I work. But that's not the point of this video. The point is how much my thinking and my behavior changed when I started to treat myself with the same consideration that I would give a kid who was in my care. It was a bad situation at work with a rude and volatile coworker, and management wouldn't do anything about it. But I used every resource I had at my disposal to balance my short-term comfort and my long-term security. In the end, I not only landed on my feet, but now I've got a better paying job with a much better commute. If you guys feel inclined to share, I would love it if you would leave a comment saying how you parent yourself. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more.